Good morning and welcome to Unity Fort Worth. It's such a pleasure to have you all here today. Welcome to those online. Let us now rise as you are able as we sing our opening song, I'm Reaching Out.
I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. I'm going deep to know the divine. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. I'm rising up to know the divine. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there, I'm already home, I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm rising out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. All right, good job, guys. I'm so glad to see everybody. Now it's the time we get to say hello to one another. So turn around, say hello to somebody you see out there. Say hello to those folks watching at home on the cameras. We are glad they could join us as well. And we are going to sing another song together. You can stand up, sit down, whatever makes you happy. It's called Love Is My Decision. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. decision. It's my decision right here and now.
Today's invocation is from David White's poem, Start Close In. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in, the step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet, your own way to begin the conversation. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes an intimate, private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now. Take a small step you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing close in, the step you don't want to take. Let us affirm our first two principles. Together, there is only one presence and one power in our lives and in the universe: God, goodness, omnipotence. We are God, expressing such inherent goodness. And our mission statement: we teach and live universal truth, unconditional love, and abundant life.
Today's absolute word is forgive. The affirmation is, with love and kindness, I forgive myself and others. Let's say this together. With love and kindness, I forgive myself and others. Unforgiveness can be a heavy bag of rocks on my shoulder. When I drop the bag and begin to set the rocks aside one by one, I embark upon a journey toward wholeness. My divinity is always present and available along with my humanity. It is my infinite resource of support and strength on my journey. When forgiveness feels difficult, I remember forgiveness is a process of removing the errors of my mortal mind while remembering the truth that each person is fully divine. I focus my awareness on innate love, dominion, and strength. I love, honor, and accept myself so I can forgive others as well as myself. Each act of forgiveness increases my freedom to live a happy and fulfilling life. Today's scripture verse is from Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other just as the Lord has forgiven you, and you also must forgive. The affirmation again: with love and kindness, I forgive myself and others. Together, with love and kindness, I forgive myself and others.
Today's flowers are from Jennifer Dyer in memory of her mother, Gwendolyn Dyer. Thank you to the garden team and community engagement volunteers that cleaned and beautified our campus and also helped our tech team install a new audience camera right above my head. Everyone say hello. Volunteers from our community engagement team also supported Four Saints mobile food pantry yesterday, helping to feed neighbors in need. Let's thank all of yesterday's volunteers with a big round of applause. During our Sunday service next weekend, we will have a special candlelight ceremony in honor of the people that lost their lives in service to their country. We will also take communion together to honor their sacrifice. Please join us in paying our respects to these servicemen and women and their loved ones. Larissa and Eugene Cherkasov will be performing a concert in honor of Larissa's 25 plus 2 years of performing for Unity Fort Worth. Join us on Sunday, June 5th at 7 p.m. to celebrate this milestone and experience exceptional classical performances by Larissa and Eugene. And now, Pamela Seibert, our licensed Unity teacher and chair of the fundraising committee, will share with us the results of our Spring for It fundraiser.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Do you know that our goal was raising $5,000 this time around, and we raised over $6,000. 5,000 of it came from the sponsorship opportunities and the rest in ticket sales. So we want to thank all of our generous donors and contributors. Today, we want to especially recognize those that donated a prize for our drawing. It was a lot of fun, and congratulations to you all who won. Well, yeah, thank you. And so, we'll be doing some more fun things later. And as a matter of fact, our fundraising committee meets on the fourth Sunday, which happens to be today, at 12:30 in the Blue Room. And we would love to have you. Anyone, just your wonderful creative ideas and thoughts about how we can create energy and engagement and, of course, income for our beloved community. So I hope you'll join us. And now, more music from our outstanding music team.
Waking up here on a rainy day, I swore last time that I would stay away. I came down here to talk to you. I said this time I might get through. I heard us speak, but all the words were dead. We talked all night and left it all unsaid. So we agreed to disagree. At least we have our memories. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. You'll find a way to say it all someday, yeah. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters, yeah. Night and day, and day. You've got your secrets, yeah, and I've got mine. We played this game now for a long, long time. You don't lean on anyone. Never had no place to run. Never wanted me to get too close. We love and hate the ones who need the most. I tried to find a way to you. One thing I could say to you. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. We'll find a way to say it all someday, yeah. Whatever's written written in your heart, that's all that matters. Yeah. Night and day, and day. Maybe I've always set my sights too high. You take the easy way and still get by. I know there ain't no special way. We all get there anyway. Heard her speak, but all the words were dead. We talked all night and left it all unsaid. So we agreed to disagree. At least we have our memories. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. You'll find a way to say it all someday, yeah. Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters, yeah. Night and day, and day. Yeah. Whatever's written in your heart, and day. Whatever's written in your heart, whatever's written in your heart, and day, night and day.
And now it's my great pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker for today, Reverend Dr. Ahriana Platten. Ahriana is an international speaker, author, and courage builder. She's the founder of A Soulful World, a global wisdom community serving people in more than 50 countries. As a master ceremonialist and practical mystic, Ahriana is widely appreciated for her authenticity, her professional insights, and her coaching on the process of change. Ahriana mentors highly motivated individuals and teams who seek to align right livelihood, intuitive purpose, and heart-centered living. A former ambassador for the Parliament of the World's Religions, Ahriana is a featured wisdom keeper in the acclaimed international film and docuseries Time of the Sixth Sun. She has traveled the world to explore its cultural differences and human similarities, speaking to religious and tribal leaders from 250 countries. Her weekly newspaper column, In Good Faith, is seen by over 100,000 readers each week, and her beautifully illustrated book, The Changing Story, is a well-loved gift for children and adults alike. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Dr. Ahriana Platten.
Good morning. What a pleasure it is to be here with you this morning. In all of that stuff, what didn't get said is I'm a Unity minister and I'm in Colorado Springs. And it's snowing in Colorado Springs this morning. So I'm sending some cool your way, calming down the heat in Texas. I spent lots of years there, and I know Texas can be very warm this kind of year. And so happy to spend this day with you. I want to start this morning asking you to please repeat a statement after me. And there will be two parts to it. The first is this: I am God expressing. The second is this: everything is God expressing. I am God expressing. Everything is God expressing. That's what I want you to take home with you today, and we'll repeat it several times as we go. But I want to ask you to start with me this morning by suspending some beliefs, because Jean-Marie asked me to come in and speak this morning about connecting with nature and what it means to hear the voice of the Holy coming through nature to you. So I want to ask you to envision, if you will, those kind of three-tiered metal baskets that you can hang in your kitchen. And when you hang them up, you can place your bananas and your potatoes and your avocados all in those separate baskets. That's called a suspension basket. So what I want you to do this morning is just take your belief system, whatever that is, and for just this few moments we're together, I want you to just set it in the basket. It's right there. You can bring it back. It totally belongs to you. I will not take it away. But I'm going to introduce some ideas that for some of you may be new this morning. And I want to invite you to just be present to them rather than feeling like you have to run them through your own filters. Just be present to some possibilities. So as we set this up, I'm going to start with this cool little rope, which is actually just a lanyard, but I'm going to cover that part. So what you see in front of you is just a circle, very simple circle. And I want to speak to you about those two principles that you talked about this morning. The first is that there is one God, and the second is that because we are one with that God is good, we are therefore good. We agree to those things, right? There is one God, that God is good, and we are part of that God. I am God expressing. We are part of that God, and we are good. So how is it that one God becomes two? Me and God. Whatever you call God, whatever word. It sounds really, really complicated to think about God becoming us, about God becoming something different than God, Great Spirit, the great mystery, however we want to name that holy force. But to make two from one is very simple. 1, 2. Very, very simple. And yet, even in 2, this is still 1, isn't it? When we look at 1 and turn it into 2, we can believe that it's 2. And it is as we look at it. But if we were to change our perspective a little bit and create a little space there, we would see that it never stopped becoming 1. It's never stopped being 1, did it? It's always 1. And so it is with the holy. With the holy, it's always 1. Even though it looks like 2 or it looks like many, we are one with the holy. We are God expressing in this form, on this planet, in the way that we do. And we have a way of believing that we are the only things that express as God. But in reality, when we look at the way the earth came into beginning, there was a whole lot of expression of God before we got here, wasn't there? There was a whole bunch. So let's think about it this way. I want you to put your arm out in front of you, and I'm going to turn a little bit just so you can see this. And if this is your arm, just to give you some perspective on the creation process, right here is your shoulders. This here at your shoulders is where the Big Bang happened. That was about 4.5 billion years ago. And then all the way down here where your wrist is, this is about 460 billion years ago, where the very first real kind of picture we might have of the Garden of Eden, the beauty and lushness of the earth, all the plants and forces of nature came into real being. And then somewhere down here, about where my fingernail is, that's where the dinosaurs came. That's that's about 66 million years ago when we had dinosaurs on the earth. And then down here at the very, very tip of my fingernail, or your fingernail if you're still following me along, down here at the very, very tip of your fingernail is where we as humans joined the earth. So if we took a little nail file and just scratched the end of that, we would take off all the wars, all the births and deaths, all of the life of what now is over 7 billion people on the planet, just at that very, very tip. So we are very new to this place. There's a whole lot of life that's been here a lot longer than us, has a whole lot of wisdom to share. And it came here, it came into being as the creation of the holy. So here's the thing. Some of you may have had one of these when you were a kid. It's called a bed of nails, actually. And it's all kinds of fun to play with. You can put your hand in there and make all kinds of things out of it. So here's the thing. This is what Charles Fillmore taught us, is that there is a substance to life that is the holy, that is what we call Christ consciousness, or Myrtle often referred to as the infinite mind of God. And that this substance, what is below all life, is the holy. There is nothing that is anything less than God. There can't be. If we live within God, then everything around us lives within God. Everything we are is the holy. There is nothing else. So I can assume that this is the substance of God, and I can, from the body of God, bring forth human life. Or I can bring forth sunglasses. Or, let's see, I brought this other little thing. This is a flower I just brought back from Hawaii. So if I take the time to put that in there, right, then I can bring forth, I'll turn that a little bit so you can see it. I can bring forth also the beauty of nature from the substance of God, right? Are you with me? Nod your head because I can see you. Yay, okay. So this is the foundation for understanding the value of nature. That we understand what we said before. I am God expressing. Everything is God expressing. There is nothing around us that is anything less than the holy. So what's really interesting about this is the ancients have known this, our ancestors knew it, the indigenous cultures knew this, but science is finally catching up. And science is saying, oh, wow, we are 99.99999% space. What does that mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm space. I feel pretty solid to me. But what we have learned from science and from the ancients, if we pay attention to those things, is that there is much more energy to life than there is substance. So that makes sense, doesn't it? If we go back to this model and we say everything rises from the energy that is the holy, everything comes from there. Every rabbit, every tree, every rock, every river, every cloud, every person arises out of the body of the holy. So if that's true, and we can communicate with one another, then doesn't it always also make sense that we can communicate with anything? That if I am the face of God expressing to you, and you are the face of God expressing to me, then isn't every tree and every bird song and every splash of water in a river, isn't that also God expressing? Yes. Yes. So here we are down here at our little fingertip, down at the very edge of what's been created thinking how brilliant we are, how far we've come, how much we know, how wise we are. And somewhere back here, millions of years back, all of these beautiful facets of nature began. The clouds and the rivers and the trees and the beauty, the animals, the beauty that is nature began. Who do you think has been here long enough to collect more wisdom? Us down here or all of nature back here? There is this tremendous wealth of information and interconnection and God presence available in nature. And what is really interesting about it is at a core level we know this. At a core level, when we really need to take care of ourselves, we go for a walk. We get out in nature. We sit under a tree. We lay in the grass. We do the things that ground us and bring us present in our form, that allow us to settle down what is bothering us. All of that we know inherently here. But we don't think to talk to nature. So I want to tell you about this little experience. And I've been doing this my whole life. My very whole life, nature has been speaking to me. And in my whole life of nature speaking to me, I've only heard it call me by name one time. I have only heard nature use English one time. And it was, I had purchased a Christmas tree and planted the tree outside. We bought one with the root ball and everything intact. And it needed water. And it literally called me and said, I'm thirsty. And I went over and watered it, and it never spoke to me again. Never heard another word. Nature has called me by many other voices. And so I want you to think for a minute about what you came equipped with when you came here. That you came equipped with a physical form that can do all kinds of amazing things. It can feel, it can hear, it can see, it can taste, it can touch. And it has an inherent ability to know things that you didn't think here that come from here at the heart. The things that we didn't process through that suddenly come in and we just know. All of that gifting is part of the creative source, isn't it? It's what we were given as we came into and emerged from the body of the holy, so that we could navigate this land and we could learn about life. And we get very wrapped up in the human part of that, in the work that we do and the importance of life and the stuff that we have to take care of and the bills that we have to pay and all of those things that in our human minds have become incredibly important. And yet, all of those things distract us from the beauty of life around us and all of the ways that God expresses. We spend far more time inside than we do outside, far more time behind the walls and behind the screens than we do allowing ourselves to connect with the natural world around us. And yet, wisdom is waiting for us in the natural world. The natural world has a way of existing. And you've probably heard it said before when we think about all the things that are happening on the planet, that if the earth were to lose its human beings, if something were to happen to us and we were to go away, it wouldn't stop Earth, would it? Any more than Earth didn't exist before it got to the edge of its little fingernail. The Earth is a living energy of the holy, a living expression of God in all of its forms. And when we come to understand that, we live differently on the earth. We walk differently because our feet are touching the holy. We interact with the planet differently. We take care of our resources differently. There is so much conversation right now about how we will bring ourselves back from whatever is going on our planet. And the real truth is, the wisdom for healing exists in the earth. We simply have to start being as wise as the earth is. pay attention to what we know. If the waters are unclear, we need to stop putting things in the water. If the air is unclear, we have to think about what we're putting in the air. If we're running out of resources, we have to think about where those resources come from and how long it takes for those resources to grow to fruition. All of those very simple, very basic, very powerful lessons were the lessons that our indigenous ancestors, and we all have them, because indigenous means we're of the earth. So we all have indigenous ancestors. We all came from this place. All of those indigenous ancestors and indigenous lessons seem so simple. We are interconnected to all things. All things are the same as us, of equal value to us. They are all the holy expressing, just as we are the holy expressing. I am God expressing. Everything is God expressing. So I want to invite you to consider for a moment what it would mean if God was expressing to you, with you, around you, through you, every single second of every single minute, of every single hour, of every single day, of every single year, for every single bit of your entire life. What if you have never been alone ever? Because how can you be? You are one with God. Just like we showed you at the very beginning, right? This is where you began, and even though it looks like this, you are eternally, inseparably one with God. So when you go out into nature, you have an opportunity to interact with the holy. When I was 40 years old, I went through a very painful divorce. And at that time, a friend of mine called me and she said, completely unrelated, she called me and she said, "Oh my God, you have to go to the park down the street. There is this amazing live oak, and it sits, the branches reach out over the river. And if you sit up there, you can sit kind of between the heavens and the earth and watch the water sparkle, and it's just amazing." So I went there. Park was about 3 miles down the road from my house, and I was struggling. My heart was breaking, and I went to this park, and I walked clear across the park to where the pond was, and there was a bench at the bottom, and then this amazing tree that kind of looked like a spider. It had 8 branches, and all of the branches came out, but only one was low enough for me to actually get up in the tree. And I can tell you, I'm a few years older than 40 now, but I can tell you at 40, I wasn't quite sure I could climb a tree. But I tried, and I got up there, and I managed to scoot myself backwards up the branch until I got far enough out that I was over the river. And it was a pretty wide branch, and I could just sit there and feel the breeze running through my hair and feel the sun on my skin. It was in Texas, in San Antonio, as a matter of fact, so you know that the sun is pretty warm there. And I could feel that warm sun, and the steadiness of that tree I felt held in a way that I hadn't in a very long time. Settled in and held. And as I was sitting there, remembering, which as I said, nature's been speaking to me my whole life. So I was remembering that this was a living being holding me. And I put my hands on the branch and just said, "What's your name?" And across the screen of my eyes, you close your eyes and something just shows up there. Right in that screen, I saw the word Sutak, S-U-T-A-K, which I shortened to Sue because it was way easier to remember. I just called her Sue. And she said, "Why are you here?" She said it to my heart, not to my ears. "Why are you here?" And I said, "Because I'm heartbroken and I don't know what to do." And she drew my attention down to her base, which was really wide, too wide for me to put my arms around. And I got this vision of the rings, the inside rings of a tree. And she explained to me about the layers of bark and how that bark has come to be to protect that tree. how important it is that sometimes we protect our heart, especially after something tender has happened, that it's important that we do that, and it's okay. She really gave me permission at that time in my life to protect my heart while I was healing. But at the same time, she called my attention up to the tallest branches, and in the very tip top of those branches were those really lime green new leaves, you know, the really soft, pretty ones that you look at them and you think that color can't be real, but it is. Those really soft green leaves just reaching out, brand new baby leaves just reaching out. And she reminded me at the same time that while I'm protecting my heart, I still need to be reaching out in new ways. That this is not one part, but a wholeness, that we move through life in a whole way. And that we shield ourselves when we need to, and we also remember to reach out into life and to find our way to what is new and what Spirit is providing for us. That seems like such a small little bit of information, and yet it was life-changing for me. It was life-changing because I was doing a lot of beating up on myself, because I was feeling very armored. And so I kind of got some permission to take care of myself, and life-changing because it gave me courage to look at my life and see where I could reach into something new. That's just one example of how nature has touched my life, and how some of the wisest lessons in my life and the greatest growth in my life has come from interacting with nature. You know, if you want to understand about community, lay yourself down in the grass again. Remember how you did that as a kid? You lay on your belly and you put your hands on your chin on your hands, and you watch all of the things in life that move between the blades of grass. All of the ways that they move around and with each other. How big life is for them. And it's all happening right below our feet. We don't even see it. When you take time to do those things that you did as a kid, the miracles of life start happening to you again. You start remembering that you are part of something so profound and magical. And if that doesn't work for you, flip over on your back and lay there like you did when you were a little kid with your hands under your head and watch the clouds. Watch the messages. How many things did you see in the clouds? How many different messages came? What if all of those were messages from God? Even the funny ones, which is just God playing with you. What if all those things are God's giant Etch-a-Sketch? How cool would that be? How much time would you spend laying on your back to watch God? To watch what's coming to you? It changes your life if you believe that everything in life is God expressing. And if you actually pay attention to what is around you as though it was the hand and heart and soul and meaning of the holy touching your life, reminding you that you're never alone, giving you messages to guide you. I am God expressing. Everything is God expressing. My favorite author is an Irish poet and philosopher. His name is John O'Donohue. Some of you might be familiar with him. He says this about nature. When the mind is festering with trouble or the heart torn, we can find healing among the silence of mountains or fields, or listen to the simple steadying rhythm of waves. The slowness and stillness gradually take us over. Our breathing deepens, and our hearts calm, and our hungers relent. When serenity is restored, new perspectives open to us, and difficulty can begin to seem like an invitation to new growth. This invitation to friendship with nature does, of course, entail a willingness to be out there alone. Yet this aloneness is anything but lonely. Solitude gradually clarifies the heart until a true tranquility is reached. The irony is that at the heart of that aloneness, you feel intimately connected with the world. Indeed, the beauty of nature is often the wisest balm, for it gently relieves and releases the caged mind. In today's world, it's challenging. And in Unity, we work hard to think about the challenges of life in a positive way, and also to be careful that we don't paint positivity over the world in such a way that we forget to deal with the realities of life, that we lose our compassion for one another or lose track of some of the struggles that life brings us. Nature is a soothing balm, a wise balm, a place we can go to find peace. And the aloneness can be as alone as in your own backyard. If you're not the person that wants to go wander through the woods by yourself, go sit in your backyard, sit in a park, lay in the grass, sit up against a tree. Take a moment to pay attention. Assume for a moment that what has happened around you, the entire structure of the day, every cloud in the sky, every blade of grass beneath your feet, the leaves that are rustling in the wind, that all of that was constructed by the Holy for you, for that moment. That is how it works when you're one with God. When everything is one with God, every single piece of what you experience is the gift of the Holy. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Let yourself comfortably feel your feet on the earth. Let your hands rest in your lap. Notice your body. Notice where you feel the shirt you're wearing against your skin. Notice the temperature of the room you're in. Allow your mind to be free. There's no place to be and nothing to do, only the gift of this very moment, and this moment, and this moment. The imagination opens us to the wisdom of the Holy. Allow your imagination to follow these words. Simply imagine a place in nature. Imagine that you are agile and comfortable and at ease enough to sit down on the earth. That the grass or the ground beneath you is soft. That there's a gentle breeze, just the temperature you love, rustling your hair and whispering in the treetops. Imagine a fragrance on the wind. Maybe it's the fragrance of pine or the fragrance of flowers, a fragrance that calls you to your heart space. Imagine the soft song of the birds. And notice that there's movement, life all around you. Beauty and life and peace. Allow your heart to bring forth the memory of the most peaceful time you can think of, having been in nature. When you felt at one with everything, safe and calm, not thinking, just being. We've heard the story of the Garden of Eden. So often the focus is on the things that took us from the garden rather than the garden. What might it have been like? What if we never left? What if the Garden of Eden is what is around us every moment of life? What if this place you see and sense and feel is indeed Eden, In Hebrew, the word Eden means delight. The garden of delight. And how does nature bring you delight? Through its sounds, through the beauty you see, through the soft touch of a flower petal, through the warmth of the sun on your skin. In the moments that we connect with nature, we remember who we really are. Take a moment of silence in this sacred space and feel the embrace of God. In this holy, sacred moment, and every holy, sacred moment, and there are none that are anything less than that. You sit in the Garden of Eden. You sit in the arms of the holy, held. As you gently find your way back into this room, my friend Joe Uvegas is here to share with you some music, some thoughts from the Garden of Eden. Joe?
On a sleepy, endless ocean, when the world lay in a dream, there was rhythm in the splash and roll, but not a voice to sing. Then the moon shone on the breakers, and the morning warmed the waves, till a single sail did jump and hum, with joy as though to say, this is my home, this is my only home. This is the only sacred ground I have ever known. Should I stray through the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Then the day grew bright and rounder, and the one turned into two, and the two into 10,000 things, and old things into new. And on some virgin beachhead, one lonesome critter crawled, and he looked about and shouted out in his most astonished drawl, this is my home, this is my only home. This is the only sacred ground I have ever known. Should I stray through the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Soon all the sky was buzzing, and the ground was carpet green, and the weary children of the woods went dancing in between. And the people sang rejoicing when their fields were glad with grain, this song of celebration from their cities on the plain. This is my home, this is my only home. This is the only sacred ground I have ever known. Should I stray through the dark night alone? Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. La 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 la, la la, la 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 la. La 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 la. Now there's smoke upon the harbor and factories on the shore, and the world is ill with greed and will and enterprise of war. But I will lay my burdens on the shoulders of your grace and the shining beaches of your love and the sea of your embrace. This is my home. This is my only home. This is the only sacred ground I have ever known. Should I stray through the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden.
What a blessing to have Reverend Dr. Ahriana Platten and Joe Uvegas with us today. Please join me in thanking them for being with us and sharing an inspiring message and beautiful music for us to take forward into our lives this week. If you would like to contribute to what we are doing and what we are about, you can do so right now as our ushers come around. You may leave your tithe or love offering or place your hand over the basket to bless our contributions. For those online, we will post a link for you to make a donation, or you may go to our website to do the same. In whatever way you choose to contribute, we are so grateful as we bless our love offerings. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
Times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Hearted people living in the world agree there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see answer to tomorrow, let it be. Let it be.
It's been such a gift having you with us today. Please join us for fellowship after service. And remember, the fundraising committee is meeting at 12:30 in the Blue Room. Stay safe, be well, and have a wonderful week. Please rise to sing the peace song, followed by the prayer for protection.
We're going to do it a cappella today. Here we go. You ready? Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and I am.
Have a beautiful Sunday, y'all.
Love y'all.